The anime begins with a boy named Einar hits a tree with his axe, but gets immediately yelled by his mother as if it falls it may crush the house. His sister wonders if he is training to be a woodcutter, but Einar states he is training for battle. His mother laughs at him, stating he will be useless in battle, and calls him to come for lunch. While they eat, his mother wonders why he is training, and Einar explains that he wants to protect this place. Their village was burnt down and they finally rebuild it, and he wishes to protect it. He is frustrated to always be on the losing side, and his father died protecting them. His mother tells him that they haven't lost all. Soon the village get raided. Einar, Lotta, and their mother make a run to the woods, but an arrow hits their mother in the back. She wants them to leave her, but Einar and Lotta stay by her side. As men approach, their mother tells Einar to take Lotta and run and live. Moments later, she takes her last breath and dies. Einar and Lotta are frozen and shocked. The men arrive and take Lotta. Einar tries to stop them, but gets knocked back. Lotta takes out her hairpin and stabs one of the men in the back, which angers him and he kills her. The other are annoyed he killed a good-looking girl, but decide to take Einar and sell him for beer. Einar struggles in anger as he is being taken, but is unable to do anything. Sometime later, Einar is on a boat with other slaves. A female slave coughs non-stop. The men check her and realizes she won't make it and throw her overboard. Einar is angry and asks them why they did it, but the man hits him and checks his throat. As he is okay, the man tells the rest to keep themselves warm and not get cold. When they reach land, they feed and bath the slaves so they look good and healthy when they try to sell them. While being lined for a sale and the men don't pay attention, Einar sees a chance and runs away. He reaches a house and being hungry, he steals some food, but as he runs from the house, one of the slavers finds him. He beats him up and brings him back to the other slaves. The man uses Einar as an example and tells the rest that even if they run, no one will help them as they are far away from home and don't have money. They need to find a good master who will take care of them. Einar accepts his fate as even if he runs away, he doesn't have where to return to anymore. One day, while being lined for sale, the slavers bring Leif stating that Einar is the man he is looking for. Looking at him, Leif yells at them that he doesn't look like anything he described and is neither blonde or small. The slaver apologizes and still tries to sell Einar, but Leif explains he isn't looking to buy a worker, but to free his relative Thorfinn. As slavers haven't heard of him, Leif apologizes to Einar and leaves. Einar thinks that Thorfinn is lucky to have someone looking for him. Moments later, Kettle shows up and inspects Einar. He asks him for his name, from where he came, and what he was doing before. Einar explains he was a farmer in northern England. Liking what he heard, Kettle asks Einar if he would like to help him with his farm. Kettle then buys Einar and brings him to his farm. Kettle shows Einar his farm and explains he will introduce him to the rest at dinner since they are working right now. Seeing the farm, Einar is reminded of his land and family. He knows he will never be free again and wonders if his mother was right that he still haven't lost everything. Einar starts to think that if he is obedient and serves a good master, he won't starve. Kettle takes Einar to meet Thorfinn, who is cutting wood. Kettle introduces Einar to Thorfinn and explains that starting today they will be friends and will be doing the same job. Kettle proceeds explaining what they will be doing and points to the forest and asks Einar what it looks like to him. Einar guesses it's a forest, but Kettle corrects him, saying it will be a future wheat farm. Kettle owns the forest and will let the two borrow it. Einar and Thorfinn will clear the land, work it, and reap the harvest, and then Kettle will buy it from them for a fair price. Once that price exceeds their own price as slaves, they can buy their own freedom. Einar realizes that means they can buy their freedom, and Kettle confirms it, stating that if they work hard, they may be free in 3 years. Einar is shocked but gladly accepts. Kettle tells them to turn to Peter if they have any problems or questions. Peter explains he became a free man by the same means and wished them all the best of luck. Before leaving, Kettle tells Einar he can rest today and observe how Thorfinn works. Thorfinn returns into the forest. Einar follows him and wonders what kind of man is Kettle and if what he said is normal for Denmark, because in his homeland, a slave is a slave for life. Einar reveals he is from northern England and wonders about Thorfinn. Thorfinn stays quiet for a moment but reveals he is from Iceland, but Einar doesn't know where that is. Seeing the cut trees, Einar is impressed how many Thorfinn had cut already and wonders how much are left. Thorfinn points at river and explains that all from that side of the river must be cleared. Einar then realizes that there are quite a lot of trees left. Thorfinn returns to cutting trees. Einar decides to do it too, but his axe is stuck on the tree on his first strike. Thorfinn reminds him he was told to rest, but Einar states he wants to earn his freedom faster. Thorfinn asks him to them start a bit further away from him and cut the trees so they fall perpendicular to the river. Einar then realizes that way they can float them down the river. As they work, Einar gets a bit hungry and wonders about lunch. Thorfinn explains that when the time comes, farmhands will bring them lunch. Einar hears some voices and guesses the food is coming. Einar meets the men who give him a bag with the food, but Einar is surprised how little it is. The men guess that it's his first time being a slave in state. He is lucky to be fed at all. They are free men who bring him lunch, so he needs to thank them. Einar gets angry, but Thorfinn comes, takes the food, and thanks them. The man tells Thorfinn to teach Einar some manners and to not injure the horse. The four men then go to sleep under a tree. Thorfinn ties the horse to a tree and tells Einar that he and the horse will be pulling, while Einar pushes from behind. Einar asks if they could cut the tree more, but Thorfinn explains it's owned by their master, and they can't cut it more without his permission. Einar guesses this is those four men's job, but Thorfinn tells him to forget it. The two, along with the horse, then start pulling the trees toward the river. In the evening, Einar is hungry and tired and angry at the farmhands. He guesses that farmhands don't have their own land and need to serve the master, and Thorfinn confirms it. Einar then states they are half-slaves and are just bullying those that are under them to feel superior. Einar wonders if Thorfinn agrees, but Thorfinn doesn't care. Einar states that they are owned by the master and his farmhands shouldn't order them around. He wants to report them to Kittel, but Thorfinn tells him to not do it, otherwise they will harass them even more. Einar is furious that Thorfinn is fine with that. Kittel shows up and wonders how their first day was. Einar states he has a report, but then sees a woman and gets distracted by her beauty and stops talking. As Einar isn't responding, Kittel guesses there is nothing to report and continues on his way. Next day, Kittel and his farmhands are harvesting wheat. The kids bring some fresh water, and after drinking, Kittel tells them they finished this batch by noon. Einar is surprised to see Kittel working, as he thought rich people never worked. Einar then sees a young man struggling to harvest wheat properly and is evidently annoyed at having to be on the field in the first place. The young man is Olmar. Kittel attempts to help Olmar. However, Olmar states that he is already doing what he told him to do. Kittel tells him to use hand sickle and cut below the knee. Olmar states it doesn't matter since it's still getting cut, but Kittel states that after the harvesting comes the grazing and they leave long stumps so the livestock can eat them. Olmar gets more annoyed as Kittel keeps explaining on how to harvest. Einar wonders who is that, and Thorfinn tells him it's Kettel's son. Olmar gets angry and states he had enough. He decided to help once, but Kittel won't stop complaining. Kittel tells him that he needs to listen and he will inherit the farm, but Olmar isn't interested in doing boring farm work. Olmar attempts to pull out his sword from behind his back, but as the blade is too long, he can't take it out of the sheath. He then takes it back and runs off on his course, stating he wants to make a name for himself with his sword one day. Later that night, Olmar practices his sword play and states he will be going to England soon and joining Prince Canute's army. He sees a moth and attempts to cut it, but misses. Olmar is with a woman in his bed who wonders when he'll be leaving, but Olmar doesn't know and states that King Harold should be calling for reinforcements soon. The woman thinks it's better if he takes over the farm, explaining she is worried about him, and invites him back in bed. Outside, the woman's father and mother are listening and hope that Olmar keeps sleeping with their daughter so that their future will be secured. Moments later, Olmar comes out angry, and the two wonder if their daughter done something. Olmar yells at them, stating he knows they just want to become part of Kettel's family and live in luxury. Angry, Olmar leaves, stating all women are rotten. Olmar rides frustrated. He sees two drunk farmhands who tell him it's dangerous to ride at night. Olmar wonders what are they doing there, and the two explain they went to see a woman, but other retainers got there first. They couldn't start a fight as they will get in trouble, and find Olmar lucky as he can do what he wants. The two realize that Olmar is angry and decide to take him with them to continue drinking and chat. In bed, Einar mumbles that Olmar should take the farm. He doesn't know war and probably thinks warriors are cool, but anyone who goes to war is a beast. Thorfinn tells him to go to sleep as they will be waking up early. Einar explains that soldiers came to his village twice. First came the King of England's soldiers who burned every house. His father fought them but died. After that came the Danes, claiming they were saving them from the tyranny of the King of England, but they pillaged everything they could. Einar thinks they are beasts in human skin. Einar asks Thorfinn if he is asleep, but Thorfinn doesn't respond as he recalls similar scenes from his own past. Olmar gets easily drunk and starts complaining that no one is understanding him. Olmar feels that they are laughing inside at him, and Fox and Badger note that he isn't a fun drunk and feel they made a mistake taking him with them. Olmar overhears them and questions them if they have any pride as warriors as they serve his father for pittance. Fox states they have their usefulness in a fight, but Olmar states he never saw them doing any work. But Fox explains it's because the village is so peaceful. Olmar tells them to draw their swords, wanting to test their skills. Fox and Badger to flip the table, pushing Olmar on the ground, where they easily take his sword. Olmar then throws a tantrum, wanting to be killed since he is a nobody. Fox realizes that Ulmer doesn't want to be treated like a child and tells him that to become a real man isn't that hard and he needs to complete a rite of passage by killing a person. Fox explains that after he kills someone, he will feel confident and will learn how fragile human bodies are. Ulmer wonders who, and Fox states he knows the perfect target who is even in this farm. Einar wakes up and goes to pee. He then hears Thorfinn screaming and goes to check him. Thorfinn wakes up confused and Einar wonders what he dreamed that made him scream like that. However, Thorfinn states he doesn't remember. They go to wash their faces at the well, but the woman who Einar saw the other day is already there. She explains she is done and let them wash their faces. Einar states that even if he washes his face, it won't get any better. However, the woman disagrees and states he has a wonderful face, which embarrasses Einar. She introduces herself as Arnheid and guesses that Einar has joined them recently. Einar confirms and explains he came from England. That surprised Arnheid as she notes he speaks the language very well and she guessed he was Norse. Einar explains that his village are descendants from Nords and they speak both English and Norse. Einar apologizes, guessing it's hard for a lady like Arnheid to understand him due to his thick accent. Arnheid apologizes herself as she haven't told him her status. Einar is then surprised to learn that she isn't Ketil's daughter, but another slave and Ketil's personal attendant. Fox and Badger then come and Fox jokes if they are gathering to plot their escape. Fox asks Thorfinn his name and Badger wonders if Einar is also a slave as he doesn't recognize him. After Einar explains he joined them this summer, Fox tells Thorfinn and Einar to follow him. As they go with him, Einar wonders who are they since they carry swords. Thorfinn explains that they are guests and resident defensive force at the farm, essentially bodyguards. Einar guesses that whatever they want won't be good, but then recalls Arnheid complimenting him and he giggles. Fox notices and states Einar is in a good mood and he seems lively one. They go to Ulmer and other men and give Ulmer a sword. Fox then tells Ulmer to do a nice cut. Einar doesn't understand what is going on and Fox states that they are making their young master a man and want Einar to die for him. Einar gets angry and wonders what they have done to deserve it, but Fox explains that their lives aren't theirs and their owner can do what he wants with them. Ulmer states that Einar and Thorfinn belong to his father and not him, and if he kills them, he needs to pay back his father. Fox is disappointed that Ulmer is making excuses and wonders if he is afraid of his father. Ulmer denies it and Fox tells him to kill them then. Einar tells Thorfinn to run and then charges and takes down Ulmer. As he fights with Ulmer, he tells Thorfinn to run again and go tell Ketil. Thorfinn isn't moving, but two other men also point their swords at him and warn him to not move and just watch. Thorfinn sighs and states Ulmer can cut him down. He notes that they need to kill only one and should leave Einar to return to work. Snake wakes up later. He then looks around and starts calling his old man asking for breakfast. The old man tells him it's late for breakfast and if he wants to eat, he should help him with the harvest once in a while. Snake refuses and the old man tells him that he won't cook for him and to figure out something himself. Not wanting to cook, Snake decides to head home. After Thorfinn's statement, the men are surprised and Fox asks him about his name again. He then asks him if he understands what it means to be cut and Thorfinn confirms that he will die. Einar wants to stop him, but Badger shuts Einar. Fox states he can't overlook what Thorfinn said and such remarks reduce the value of their product. He wonders if Thorfinn knows what they sell and as Thorfinn doesn't, Fox states it's death. Fox states that everyone is afraid of dying and points at Ulmer, noting that he is even afraid of someone else dying. Fox states death has value because everyone fears it. He takes out his sword and makes a small cut on Thorfinn's chest. He then points his sword at Thorfinn and states he should be afraid. He makes a few more cuts and wants Thorfinn to beg for his life. In that moment, Snake returns and sees that Thorfinn didn't even blink when Fox cut his cheek and recalls that Thorfinn is Ketil's slave. Thorfinn asks why they should fear death and if they live to because they don't want to die. He wonders if anything good comes from being alive and then states that nothing good had happened to him in his entire life. Fox gets frustrated and cuts part of Thorfinn's left ear, noting that his eye is next. Fox is about to do it, but Snake yells to stop. Hearing Snake, Fox freezes in fear. Fox wonders when Snake came back. Snake tells Fox to come to him and then punches him in the face. Snake then turns to Badger and tells him to explain the situation.